SVSU is facing Roosevelt this week. Last year, this SVSU team beat Roosevelt 27-14 at Roosevelt. I expect a very similar result in this one. I have SVSU winning this game for a few different reasons. One, because of what SVSU does offensively. I think that this SVSU offense is truly the strength of this team. This team is averaging almost 32 points per game. If you look at what Roosevelt has done this year, they're averaging less than 20 points a game. So I truly think that if you look at just the overall appearance of these two teams, one, I think you definitely trust the offense for SVSU. And they're coming off of a win last week against Northern Michigan, a 47-25 win, a win that they basically had at the very beginning. You have a little bit of confidence going into this, and I don't think it's going to be the confidence of the offense that's truly going to be the most important. The confidence of the defense is the most important for this SVSU team. I think this game against Northern Michigan will help them confidence-wise, especially because of what SVSU defensively has given up points per game. If you look at what they've given up points per game versus points that they scored, there's a reason why this team is 2-3. It's truly a strength offensively versus a weakness defensively for SVSU. And I think it's about getting things right on the defensive side of the ball. And I truly think that if you look at just all the opponents that SVSU has played so far, this Roosevelt offense is one of the weakest that they're going to face. This is a Roosevelt offense, like I mentioned, that averaged 20 points a game, but not only 20 points a game, they're pretty pass heavy. They only average 45 yards per game on the ground. So you know going into it that truly passing the ball is probably going to be the way that Roosevelt is going to attack you for the most part. Now, if you look at what SVSU has given up through the air, they've given up 289 yards through the air, but they've also given up 234 yards on the ground. I feel like that's the biggest factor in this game is will Roosevelt continue to be aggressive through the air, or will they try to run the ball on this defense? If they try to run the ball on this defense and SVSU has a better game, I think that's going to be a huge factor in this game. Because if SVSU can stop the run, if they can continue to keep Roosevelt one-dimensional, I don't think this Roosevelt team can outscore SVSU if it happens that way. Now, obviously, when you have a defense that has struggled to stop the run, struggled to stop the pass, you don't necessarily know 100% what you're going to get in this game from this defense. With that being said, when you have a weakness versus a weakness going up against each other, I truly don't think that Roosevelt is going to be able to run the ball very effective against this SVSU defense. I truly don't. I know that Northern Michigan was able to run it a little bit, but if you look at Northern Michigan, they're a very run-heavy team, and they only put up 25 points on this SVSU team. So if they can stop the run, I truly don't think that Roosevelt should be putting up anywhere close to the 30 points that they've been averaging. If SVSU can hold this Roosevelt team, especially at home, it's a home game, you're going to have a home crowd, you're going to have a little bit of momentum. You're going to be looking for the similar result you did last year against Roosevelt, a win. You need to continue this. If you're able to truly prevent Roosevelt from doing what they want to, it's going to force them to do things that they're not good at. And unfortunately, defensively, maybe you can say that's a little bit of a weakness on your part. But even if it's a little weakness on your part, it was better last week. It's continuing to get better. I think this SVSU defense is trying to figure things out a little bit. I think they're starting to get there. Do I think they're going to be the best defense that this Roosevelt team faces? No, I truly don't. But this Roosevelt offense, there's not a ton that truly scares me, to be completely honest with you. Zach Zella, he's been decent this year. His touchdown to interception ratio, not very good, 8-6. Running the ball, I did mention, they don't really run the ball a ton. Cam Davis, 290 yards. It's going to truly be, again, through the air. Norian, Esperdon is a guy that I brought up on a couple other podcasts, at least last week. He's going to be a guy kind of keep an eye on in this one. But I truly think SVSU is starting to get things figured out. And I think that's the biggest thing going into this game is trying to continue the momentum, get a good win at home against Roosevelt, and then see what can happen. Because while this year hasn't been the year that SVSU has wanted, this is a matchup that SVSU should win. And that's why I said at the beginning, that's why I'm predicting SVSU to win. I think just on paper, I think just the way these teams are playing currently, I think this SVSU team is better. I think they're going to come out ready to play. I think they realize the importance of this game because guess what? Their schedule is not going to get any easier. And if it doesn't get any easier, you need to win the games that you can control. And I truly think that SVSU should be able to control this game. I truly think it's going to be about stopping a guy like Norian Esperon, Jack Young Jr., CJ Hood. I truly think if you're able to stop those guys and force Zach Zella to make a few mistakes, I feel like that's going to be the recipe for success. And it's not like that hasn't happened. We've seen Zach Zella throw some interceptions. We've seen this team fumble a couple of times. If you can force turnovers, if you can get off to a good start like they did against Northern Michigan, I truly expect this SVSU team to get the win and get this win pretty comfortably. I do think it's going to end up being more than a 13-point win. I think it's going to be maybe like a 2-3 possession game at the end of it. I truly think that this SVSU team is getting there, and it starts with Mason McKenzie. I've already brought him up. It starts with getting the running game going a little bit. I think that's been slightly better, obviously, when you have a couple of guys that have been key pieces for this offense, like Michael Jamerson the third running the ball, Mason McKenzie obviously running the ball, and then you obviously have Terrence Brown Jr. that does everything out of the backfield, not necessarily a wide receiver, more of a running back. And then obviously Braden Hill, you have a couple other guys that have been really, really key for this offense. So Mason McKenzie can't get back to what he did last week. I think this offense is going to continue to roll, and I think SVSU is going to win this game. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this game. Let me know what you think. Do you like the content? If you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know in the comments, do you agree, disagree, all that kind of stuff. I will obviously do a recap of this game, talk about exactly what happened, who won, who lost, why that all happened. But truly, I expect SVSU to win this game, and I think it's going to be larger than the 13 points that they won last year.